empire imploded and collapsed at its peak timeline of its civilization. We, in our first world countries, find ourselves in such a position as well, with regards to our contemporary modern culture, our economy, and above all else, our politics. And, as the saying goes, what goes up must eventually come down. This is the story of SHOWTYM. My name is MrShowTym, and I go by the alias of MrShowTym as a retired semi-professional athlete turned social media influencer on YouTube. The best thing about me, something that I'll forever hold dearest to my heart, is that I've had the perfect upbringing, the perfect childhood, better than any other child has ever had. I was born in Newcastle, KwaZulu-Natal on December 25th in the year 1994. And I am the youngest of 5 children. My parents had 5 kids. And although some may consider me the ugly duckling, really and truly, I have proven myself to be the golden lamb, so to speak. I've lived a life of privilege thus far. In the middle class, I was educated in the best schools in my town, the best primary school, best high school, during a much simpler time. Everything was provided for me. Everything was handed to me. I finished my matric, and although I began my university career rather later than I should have, this was in the year of 2016, the same year that former and hopefully future President Donald Trump began his presidency, his first term in office. The year 2016 was very monumental, outside of Donald Trump winning his presidency and becoming the 45th President of the United States of America. 2016 was also the year that I became Redpill aware. I came across the manosphere, and I was also studying up, indulging and learning more about American politics. Now, for someone who's been heavily relying on mainstream media, corporate networks for reliable sources of information, it blew my mind how they were lying to us. It blew my mind how the mainstream media was used as a tool of propaganda and overall brainwashing the masses to believe one thing that would lead us to damnation. I wasn't fully knowledgeable about how the American politics system works. I didn't know much about Donald Trump either. All I knew about Donald Trump at the time is what The Daily Show said about him, what CNN said about him, and of course I took it at face value, but at the back of my mind, I knew that something was off, something was wrong. I started to do my research and I put 2 and 2 together. I used my brain, logic and reason, and I found out that Trump is nowhere near the villain that he's put out to be. Speaking of corporate institutions, I learned very quick how every corporate institution nationwide, particularly educational institutions, were used as a tool of left-leaning, wokeist, anti-white propaganda that is very detrimental for the minds of the youth, and that will be undergraduate university students. Now, while I cannot confirm this to be the case for all courses in universities, I can only speak for my own course that I was studying, and that was Public Relations and Communications. Near the end of my 3rd year, they made us complete a short online course called critical race theory. A theory that teaches anti-white rhetoric, which is very funny because I thought that in society we're all supposed to be equal and fair and just and, you know, equal towards each other. But critical race theory basically teaches how white people are inherently oppressive because of their past, because of their history, and it encourages people of color to be victims. Now this is poison for the mind. This is used because they want to weaken the greater society. They realize that the white demographic are the dominant society, and with them taking sort of like a backseat, it weakens first world civilizations, and it puts people of color in a, I like to describe, in a peasanthood state of mind with victim narrative all the time. That's what they teach in critical race theory. So what I did is, I was the only one who did this, by the way. I called out the management staff of University of Johannesburg. I sent emails to my senior lecturer, and basically in a perfect world, she would have said, "Oh, okay, Mr. Mhlongo, okay, this is your claim. This is what you're claiming. You're saying that this is bad for society. Okay, let us solve this. Let us talk about this." What happened instead is they beat around the bush and they eventually ignored my emails. They ignored me. They dodged me and they ignored me when I offered to talk to our university's vice chancellor to expose the data and evidence of my findings, how bad for society this course is. And of course, like I said, I realized that these people are not here to solve the problem. They're here to perpetuate it. Now, I'm sure most of you watching me right now, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. We live in an age of censorship. If you post anything on your social media that goes against the narrative, you may lose your job, you get cancelled, you lose friends and family, and the Matrix, they make it a point to make your life either 5 or 10% harder than usual. Of course, they don't want to come out and make it explicitly hard because that will become too obvious. They have to move in subtleties. We live in an age of censorship. People are afraid to express their true opinion of the obvious propaganda that's happening today. And anyone who dares call it out, they become targeted by the Agent Smiths, as I have become targeted. Social credit scores are already a thing implemented today. Of course, the government will never come out and admit that, hey, from this day forth, we now operate on a social credit score system. No. They've been giving you hints, they've been giving you clues, they've been scaring you from examples of celebrities saying things that they're not supposed to, and them having them lose money and their livelihoods. We've all been seeing it. They want to scare you. As a matter of fact, it's only gonna get worse. They will make you sell your soul to be able to participate in everyday regular society. Whether you want to be a professional athlete or you want to continue working in the corporate realm to feed your family, it is only going to get worse. And you are sadly mistaken if you believe that by burying your head in the sand and saying nothing is going to help, it's going to keep you safe. You're only putting the rest of us in danger. Which is why some of us have been called up to take up the challenge and actually challenge the Agent Smiths in real time. It is not an easy task, but 2024 is the most important year of our lifetimes. It's either us or them. Only one will prevail, but only time will tell. We have to be willing to be heroes in our own stories.